prison because we gave them a stable environment. And this county is working triple time to run us out of the county. We spend over $50,000 a year in this community. The manager of Walmart said he'd try to come if he could get out of a meeting. And tell you, they don't want us to go. Between Walmart, we spend about $34,000 a year there. Susanville Supermarket, Grocery Outlet, Safeway, The Partner, Payless Lumber. We spend over $50,000 a year in this community. And yet you're trying to get rid of us for no real good reason. It's not like we've got a bunch of animals out there that run wild, and the one they refer to that runs loose, he's been caught for over a month now. He screwed up and followed a female in her pen. And they're being taken care of. Very well cared for. We spend thousands every year on vet bills. And we spend about $32,000 a year on regular food, which is bought in this community. Then we spend another $8,000 on specialty food for injured, sick, and mothers and puppies, which is not purchased in this community because you don't carry that quality of food up here anywhere. Wish you did. And yet you guys are in a big rush to run us out of the county. I just don't understand. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I talked to Barbara Boxley. I talked to Barbara Boxley's office yesterday. And I talked to Doug LaMalfa, God, I have trouble with his name, office. They both said the same thing. There's a 7-year grandfather law in the state of California. If I put my fence 5 foot on your property and you don't contest it for 7 years, that property's mine. You can't get it back. It's been grandfathered to me. And the fact that animal control officers have known we've been there since day one, they inspected us regularly, told us as long as we cared for the animals and the manner in which we've been caring for them, we'd have no trouble with them. And until that animal control officer from Modoc County heard how many dogs we had and filed a complaint, there was never a complaint against us, ever. We live across the street from the Dodge Ranch, horses and cattle. None of our animals ever went over there and harmed any of his livestock. They never harmed anybody. And if they get loose, they do one of two things. They run around the other pens going neener, I'm out and you're not until they get tired. Then they go back in their pen for food and water. So you just shut the gate on them. You start chasing them, then they run. You just stand back and wait. They'll put themselves away. Or they come up to my trailer because most rescues, once they've been vet checked and cleared, I take them in my trailer. I keep them there for a week. They have a yard to go in and out of. I hand feed them. I feed them the last bite of my dinner every night. Give them lots of love and affection so they know that they can trust someone, that they're not going to be beat, battered, and abused again. Then they go into a pen. So when they escape, they come to my trailer because they want to come in and get goodies. I'm serious. That nobody chases them anymore. They used to do that and it makes them run. So they don't do it anymore. They'll either put themselves away or come to me.
Supervisor Cloud, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, just
Larry too. Okay, we'll start.
It's a fast question. You said this is all lies.
All this about he talked to someone at
Okay, I'm
Siskiyou
reading.
County Animal Control.
I'm not reading a narrative of somebody's opinion. I'm reading Siskiyou County Code, section 5.3.6.01, licensing required. This is the Siskiyou County Code. It says $10 per head to license not to exceed 400 head, which would put a maximum of 40 head you can have.
I asked her that this morning. I have it on recording.
It's right here.
Yeah, I know what it says there, and I asked her about that specifically. She said, no, there is no number restrictions or breed restrictions.
Right there.
I know it's right there, but I asked. She said no. Call her. Ask her yourself. She's the head of the back law.
This was set by the Board of Supervisors sometime in date over the years, not by a staff person.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's still in effect.
Well, Supervisor Wasik, you have a question or comment, please?
Yeah, I was just I was curious to see, you've obviously reviewed that. You made some allegations, you know, that there's been some untruths told. And I would just like to, for the record, I mean, so it can be looked into, if you could be specific exactly as to what, for instance, I think, was this one of the things you were referring to as a lie? About the limit? I mean, it's not really.
Well, what he says here, discussion, that he spoke, it says here he spoke to a person at Siskiyou County Animal Control and asked him these questions. And she said she didn't know who he talked to. I talked to 2 different people before I got to her.
Can you just so we could follow it, can you just maybe list them out in point form, like first?
She told me that there was no number limit, nothing against pit bulls or wolf dogs, that they were perfectly okay, as long as they were cared for and kept in check and all the things that we do normally. And she said she never spoke to anybody about this. And everybody I talked to yesterday, when I asked them about the pack laws and that, you have to talk to Tara. She's in charge of that. I said, okay. So, and I missed her yesterday, so I called her at 8:05 this morning. And I have the recording. I recorded it. Because I wanted to make damn sure I covered my bases before I came in here and ran my mouth.
So, is there anything else, or is that the only thing that
Well,
said?
you guys,
In the information
In
here.
the- right,
presented for
right.
us, yeah.
right, what she said, and they have no problem with us relocating our rescue to Siskiyou County. I don't really want to move. I own my property. I don't want a dime on
Yeah,
it.
just back to the, what you said is not true, is that the only thing?
Well, no. And it goes on farther. It talks about smell, bad odors. There is none. There's never been any. She smelled. There was no, on a hot day, there was no foul odor from our property. Never has been. We're right on top of that all the time to make sure that doesn't happen. I don't like the smell, that stench.
And then what else?
Okay, what is the one I wrote all over? Okay, this don't wanna work. Like I said, they went back to 94, 95 to find all these things that are against the wolf dogs. I can produce, not right at this moment, but I could bring you probably 100 photographs of children and wolves together. This report says that 80 to 100 pounds is normal, and it's not. If you go out online and look at all these states that are having these open wolf hunts, these people showing their trophy wolves that they've killed, they all weigh 150 to 200 pounds. That's the norm outside the state of California. The ones we had in California years ago were smaller. I know, I've seen them. I saved one when I was 7 years old.
So, but as far as what you say is untrue, so it's, but in fairness to staff, I mean, it looks like they copied and pasted something out of the Siskiyou County, so that's been changed. I mean, this is.
I guess it's been changed, because I asked her, I told her, I said, this man said that there's a 40-dog limit.
Okay, but my point
And
is.
she said
that,
no.
My point is that, you know, it's not really correct to say that, you know, he's purposely lying. Maybe if it has been changed, we'll look into it. I was just curious as to what was.
Well, this whole front page, from everything she told to me, is not true.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we could.
Because I read her these points, and she said, no, no, no.
Yeah, go ahead. Supervisor, thank you Supervisor Wasik. Supervisor Fowler, you have one further comment? I mean,
Yeah, the above licensing is only applicable to dogs as it is illegal to license wolf hybrid to the dogs under the California Rabies Control Program because they are considered wild animals. And it has, I guess it's the code number 14 CCR 671 C2K. Can somebody look that up? Is that true or is that a lie?
I licensed my dogs my wolf dogs in Tehama County, they were all
Is
licensed.
this true?
Well,
or
I
is it
don't
not?
know if that's true or not.
This is California
But I've
law.
licensed them there. She said I could license them all up there, not a problem. So,
Well, somehow I'm a little, I mean, to believe some staff person that you talk to in the county up there over the county ordinance, I have a problem with that. Maybe that staff
Call the
person should be
woman.
fired for lying to you. Maybe they're the ones lying.
call her and talk to her, find out. I'm not just saying, take my word for it, call the
Council,
woman.
can you find that?
I'm looking at that right now.
I didn't know if that's a hard thing to find or easy.
Her name is Tar, her name is Tar, and her phone number is 530-841-4112. And she's the head of the pack licensing in Siskiyou County.
And, you keep making the report, the comment that we're doing everything we can, spending all this staff time to throw you out of here. That's not true. Again, we continually give you extensions.
Well, you gave me one extension. Just one,
What, 3 months? 4 months?
something like that.
I don't think we're trying to throw you out. We're not trying
I
to. We're asking
just
you
don't
to,
understand.
we're asking you to come in compliance with county ordinance passed by the people of this county.
But why was, when we first moved here, over 8 years ago now, and animal control was there, why were we not asked to get a license or a permit or anything? We were told, as long as you keep doing what you're doing the way you're doing it, we'll never bother you, and they come and made inspection after
You
inspection
got a
after
staff
inspection.
person? You got a staff person?
Yep,
That staff
that was
person
that
still-
head animal control
That
officer,
person
that
still
guy.
work for the county?
No, he fired her after this, when he found out.
Okay.
But the fact is that she was a licensed representative of animal control, and according to Barbara Boxer's office and the congressman's office, that pretty much grandfathered us in, and they don't know what the problem is. But if we want to get
Mr.
into it
Lamar-
farther, they
Mr.
will.
Lamar is representing the city right
Celeste.
Who?
there.
Him?
Raise your hand.
So anyway,
My name is Tim Holliver, I'm the area representative for Congressman Douglas Malta.
Cool, I talked to your office yesterday.
Wonderful.
again, we do have other things on the agenda, and I'm not trying to close this debate off, Debbie, believe me, but I would remind Mr. Nichols, you made a comment earlier that we are going to continue this item under discussion on the 23rd. Now, while Debbie's here, I would like it, is that going to be time certain or not? Would you? Because I don't want any confusion on her arrival.
We'll make it a time certain item that,
And I will notify you. I have-
We will make
I
it a
have
time
written
certain.
down.
This was not time certain, Debbie. I know our agenda sometimes can be difficult, but it was,
It was after the 10 o'clock thing on the.
well,
Yeah.
that's correct. But anyway, it will be time certain. You will be notified, and I'll make sure of that.
Now,
And yes,
one more point, we're on an August 1st get out date by you guys.
yes.
That's not gonna leave me time to do that. If you guys vote against this, I've looked at several pieces of property in Nevada that 2 of them are doable, and I've got an appointment to look at a couple more if you guys decide you're gonna toss us. And I would need an extension probably till October 1st to get all the animals moved so they don't get killed.
Obviously, we can't take that up today under this item. We don't have, all that would come under direction to staff on our 23rd meeting.
Okay.
We'll make that point again. Supervisor
Since
Chapman.
this item is going to be coming back on the 23rd, it will give plenty of time for appropriate staff, and I would say either county council or the county administrator,
Yeah.
to
Verify.
verify the information that has been provided to us by county staff, and also verify information that's been provided by Ms. Valenta, and will also allow an opportunity to vet the information. So in terms of the inconsistencies that we've received and the versions and variations of who said what to who, there'll be sufficient time to
But
sort
it ought to be
that out.
remembered, this is Siskiyou's ordinance, different from Tenemo, or different from Lassen or Modoc. I mean, you know it better than anybody. I
But
mean,
assertions have been made.
That's
And
correct.
I think those
We
assertions
can-
need to be addressed.
okay,
And hopefully by the 23rd, we can have part of that agenda will be a report
report that.
validating either county staff was appropriate in telling us what they told us, or they lied, or Ms. Valenta was appropriate what she told us, or she lied, or there was even another.
Misunderstanding.
Another variation of the issue. So we can get the information validated that way before we are called upon that.
Okay, like I say, I have the recording.
Okay, very
I'd
good.
be happy to-
Well, thank you, Debbie. I apologize for taking the item up before you arrived, but again, it was, we'll take it up on a time certain basis on the 23rd, and you're certainly going to be welcome to make your comments and ask any questions that you may ask on this. But thank you very much for taking the time to come in today.
Mr. Chairman, before we
Yes,
get this
go
item,
ahead. Go
I've
ahead.
had an opportunity to read what they're handed out. I don't know if you have your copies
Yeah,
in front of you. But if you look in the third paragraph, it says wolves and first generation hybrids are restricted.
We don't have any of
possession.
those.
And it says in the section that she underlines, importation, it shall be unlawful to import, transport, or possess live animals restricted in substance Act and C, including wolf hybrids, so this.
No, it's first generation, we don't have any of those.
In
let's,
addition, it also says, cities and counties may prohibit possession or require a permit.
right.
And if we put this back in historical, Ms. Valente asked for a variance on our ordinance that talked about dogs. And just to keep this clarified, just while everybody's here, Siskiyou County wrote us about this, and yes, they do have licenses for 4 more dogs, but not for wolf hybrids because there's no approved rabies vaccines for hybrids. So they do not encourage hybrids. In fact, they have a problem right now with enforcement where there's false information given for the license, where the people said they were dogs and they were wolf hybrids. There's a massive investigation going on right now in Siskiyou. So just for clarification,
So why didn't she tell me that this morning?
I can't speak to whatever Tara told you, but I just think everybody here should understand it's not quite as clear as what you're presenting that Ms. Tara gave you. There are problems in Siskiyou. They do have ordinances. It is limited to domesticated dogs.
Yeah, see, and she told me there was no restriction on wolf hybrids or pit bulls since we have both. And to answer you, I do not have any F1s.
We wouldn't know,
I-
would we?
Again, Supervisor Chapman, I think, articulated it well. We will investigate again the Siskiyou issue to find out, again, where it lies. Is that correct, Jim? Anyway, we'll continue this item on the 23rd. At a time certain. You will be notified, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Debbie, for taking time to come in today. Okay, we're gonna go ahead, if we could, we're gonna, yes, Debbie?
There's the mayor of Ravendale. He came to speak on behalf of, that he would like the Siskiyou County PAC laws instituted in Ravendale.
I noticed Mr. Wallace came in, very good. Well, Jim, can you return on the 23rd?
Yes, sir, I can.
Would you like to meet with Public Works on the 23rd as well, Mr. Wallace?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Consider that done. We'll talk about it then. Thank you, Jim, for coming
Thank
in.
you.
Okay, we're gonna move on then to item D2. It's our Title III request, it's our time certain at 10:15. Julie, are you taking this one?
We're here to open public comment, which has been publicly noticed for 45 days in the paper. So I'll need the board to open public comment and receive public comment, and then I'd be happy to address the actions requested. Do you want me to discuss those before we open public comment?
Under staff report, let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll take a public comment.
Okay.
Briefly, if possible.
I can briefly as you'd like. The second action number 2, I would like and recommend, staff is recommending that we approve and allocate Title III funds as requested to the Lassen County Sheriff under the original Secure Rural Schools and Community Self-Determination Act of 2000 in the amount of $933 plus any accrued interest. This is the final residual amounts we had prior to 2008. This is 2007 money, which was a little broader in definition, but the sheriff, for search and rescue purposes, it is a completely appropriate use, and I would like to close that grant out so that I continue to have to budget and try to do something with this money each year. And it's just, like I said, a residual amount. There may be a tiny bit of interest that accrues through June 30th, but I would like to go ahead and recommend that we allocate that money for the sheriff for search and rescue purposes. Number 3 action item, this is to put the county in a position right now, I went ahead and posted the remaining balance of the Title III money that we have available this year. So what essentially this does is it puts the Board of Supervisors in the position to be able to utilize this money by September 30th, if you choose to do so. So that we don't put ourselves in a position where the 45-day public notice has not happened and we have to return the money. So in doing research on this money, the sheriff, it's appropriate for reimbursement for search and rescue or fire response services like evacuations, flood, tsunamis, those types of situations, and it's on a reimbursement basis. And what's required is we have to obligate the funds by September 30th, complete the public notice, and then the sheriff can ask for, on a reimbursement basis, as emergencies occur, the money. As of February 1st, the county is required to certify what amount of that money has been spent every February in the previous calendar year. So because emergencies are unpredictable, we could have a year where we have several fires, we hope not, but that would use up essentially most of the money. Then we would report that. If it happens to be that we don't have a whole lot of emergencies, or he's not required to go do search and rescue on national lands, we would just need to report what has been spent by every February 1st.
And the money rolls over?
I cannot find anything, and I did ask Christine Noda at the state, she's the person I've always dealt with on this grant, and she just said the funds have to be obligated by September 30th. The only reference to this that I found is, it said in the certification that it specifically said in the certification, and this is the only thing it says, that monies from 2008 to 2011 must be certified as to how much has been spent in the previous calendar year. So what I can interpret from that, because I can't find anything that says it has to be within 12 months or it has to be, what that tells me is for search and rescue, since it's reimbursement basis, and it's hard to predict that there are other counties that are utilizing the newer monies and just reporting on an annual basis. Now, it should be based on experience, but we haven't utilized the Title III funds for the sheriff yet. So he's going to be in the process of time studying what that is going to be on an annual basis from now on. But like I said, number 3 just puts us in a position to be able to utilize that money for that purpose. Action item 4 and 5 are.
Before we move on to
Yeah, go ahead.
4, I
Sure,
have a
you got a
question.
question? Sure, certainly.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. When we were discussing this earlier this year, that was the total amount, and then we were going to, at one point, give about $5,000 to the sheriff for this function, and then there was about $140,000 that the Fire Safe Council was interested in, but at the same time, there was the concern about sequestration as to how that related to it, so we indicated that we would only allocate maybe about 130-some thousand and leaving the 7,000 or something that would be there. Now, is the 145,000 intact, or has that been reduced by sequestration?
The 145.6 is the 5,000 originally requested plus the remaining balance because the Fire Safe Council rescinded their
We
request.
were planning on allocating to them the amount minus the amount of sequestration.
They took that back, they didn't request the money.
Okay, so there is no,
I don't know if there will be sequestration, we have not heard any official notice. In the last paragraph in here, I did say that's continuing to be a possibility, but I'm not aware of
I
whether
think
it will or will not
that we
be.
get into, Mr. Chairman, if I
reduced.
may, that's the concern we had
Right.
when we were dealing with the Fire Safe Council, and it should be the same concern we have with the sheriff. If at some future point, these funds become subject to sequestration and has a reduction, that the amount we're awarding is the amount minus whatever would be taken back by the Fed, so that, you know, hopefully you'll get the 145,000, but you only may wind up at 133,000, who knows?
We currently have all the money, but it would be whether we were asked to give some back.
Back.
But I think we need to be prepared for that, so we don't have somebody come back and say, well, you promised us this amount of money, and even though they took the money back expecting the full allocation. Well, yeah.
Something else, I agree with, no, I know exactly what you're saying.
I just want to make sure that the parties know that the money that's being allocated, what will be ultimately available. If at some point in time, some of it's asked to be given back, we have to give it back.
Okay, thank you Supervisor Chapman. You want to move on? You've got a couple of other items that are going to be included.
Action items 4 and 5 are, and they are attached, are 2 requests I just recently received from the Janesville Town Council and the Spalding Community Services District wanting to utilize the money for the Firewise Community Assistance in their communities. So they presented budgets, and if we are going to entertain that, I tried to put a little breakdown on what that would leave for the sheriff on the second page of my memo. That would need to be publicly noticed for 45 days by August 6th. So if the board was gonna go ahead, they can approve the request, and then that would leave a little less for the sheriff to utilize of the monies, which now we're in a position to give whatever we want to of the entire amount to the sheriff's department. But if you want to reserve some for 4 and 5, I will go ahead and publicly notice that in the paper.
We can still do it within the time.
Yes, as long as it gets in the paper by August 6th. And that will put us at the last board meeting before September 30th. And I mean, I will definitely double check that, but this morning I looked to see what are we looking at if we want to entertain some additional
I'm sure we can get them
requests.
before the 6th.
So, as to action item number 6, there's the lesser amount saving Title III funds. That kind of addresses Jim's concern about the sequestration. I also have heard that Milford Fire Protection District is looking at requesting some of this money. Now, they haven't done so. I haven't received anything official at this
They did
point.
have-
But we have 2 board meetings in July to go ahead and put it in the paper. So if I can get something, then maybe we want to allocate a smaller amount to the sheriff, or just wait until we see if Milford wants to come in and utilize some of the money.
If I could address that, I've actually had phone calls from 2 different Milford folks who indicated to me that they were not going to receive any of these funds. So that was just in the last 10 days, so unless they've told you since then,
I've just heard from other people that they're still considering use because they were looking at utilizing the money to get a matching grant. I haven't spoken to anyone directly.
Supervisor Lawson, Larry?
Hi, thank you. I spoke with Dan from Fire State Council yesterday after the transportation meeting, and he indicated that unfortunately there was no interest. The Fire State Council went to Milford in their presentation. For whatever reason, they were standoffish to the idea, and he said they wanted to be responsible.
yeah. Both Dina Wimple and Irene Doyle, who were both involved with the Milford Fire Safety, both indicated after that presentation from the Fire Safe Council indicated that they didn't trust the working relationships and what the monies could do, and the concern about having to pay something back, so they basically said they weren't gonna pursue it.
So, and I mean, I think it's, it's unfortunate, but I did tell Dan that, we're up against the deadline, and
Right.
I'll help try and, maybe get him in touch, with Rick Washabon, the fire chief down there, and, work on it for next year, but at this stage, Dan indicated that there was, that it, like a thanks, but no thanks, for whatever reason,
Yeah, that would be consistent with what I was told.
Very good, Will.
Question?
Sure, no, go right ahead.
So on D2, on the page 2 there, where this one, there's an option for that which serves the need for the Janesville Town Council for 11.5, and also the Spalding Community for the 7, leaving a balance of 127,100 for the sheriff. But I was just wondering why it's not spelled out in one of the requested actions. So to get to that, it's kind of
It really just depends on which one of the 6 items you approve or are supportive of.
but there isn't really one that spells that one out. I guess you could approve number 4, approve number 5, and then just specify but it's not listed, or,
Right.
If you approve 4 and 5, and then we modify 3.
Modify the balance to
and
there.
then-
Okay.
2 and 3 have been publicly noticed and are available to be allocated and approved today. So they've gone through the process, but if you did want to entertain those 4 and 5, the requests from those special districts, it would just reduce what we can allocate to the sheriff. But
Yeah,
right now,
it would
we're
be
in a
more.
position to give him all of it if you choose to do so.
It would be the 127,100.
Right. And it's gonna be, I tried to say in there, plus any accrued interest, because at this point, because of time, we're gonna get a few dollars of interest every quarter to this money, so, if we go back to that, it's gonna be around these amounts. I would give the fire districts what they're looking for, and then the sheriff, due to sequestration, possibly since it's reimbursement basis, we would have still that money to return if we had to. Also, I would be requesting to reimburse the county for the posting of these public notices. That is authorized under use, so it's $55, $45 to publicly notice it, and I'd like to be reimbursed for that.
Supervisor Chapman, before I take, obviously, comment from the
Mr. Chairman, one concern I think that we also need to be mindful of, given the fact that there is a shortage of time, and it's difficult a lot of times for these small districts to be able to maybe complete or follow through on, maybe they start off, and I think that